but every
with whatever entity that they're praying to, it can't be God. I tell you that much. I believe that they're okay with their pain and suffering as long as it makes everybody else pain and suffer along with them. I just totally believe, and this presidency vindicate my point, because this guy is everything that they were against. I mean, everything.
Right.
He is divorced twice.
That's right.
You know, affairs all over the place. He is everything that they quote unquote supposed to be. Barack Obama, the classic family guy, the classic
was a monster to them.
Democrat in the White House.
Right.
They hated him. They hated him with a passion of 10 exploding stars, but they love this guy that is akin to Satan in the White House.
Right.
They love him, but
Yeah.
they hated the normal, regular guy. So, to me,
I hear you.
they don't care.
No, they don't. We're way over break, Carl.
As long as everybody else is hurting.
I agree. I think ultimately this is a numbers game, and I think the kids showing so much pushback is a great indication that the generations coming up aren't going to put up with this kind of thing and aren't going to feel the need for it as much as the ones previous. We got to take a break. It's the Housemarks Radio program, Mega Worldwide, and WCPT Radio. We'll get Ike's call right after this. I solved it. Whew, man. Shoo! All right, we're live. Look at that. We actually have some streaming video. Oh, man. The tooth pull. Yeah. Hi, guys. I'm so glad to see you guys, and thank you so much for the super chats. It cleared them from from the previous page. So if you have if I missed anybody, please remind me, because it doesn't show up in the bottom thing because I had to restart the page so many times. Way to go, Hal. I did. What was wrong? Basically the other software I updated completely failed, and so when I shut it down to open up my main the alternate software, which is what you got, which I'm using right now, which you guys helped me get, thank you. Because the other video sources were still being queued by that other software, it wouldn't show any video on this side, and then it wouldn't allow me to authenticate and go onto YouTube to upload at the same time. The other software wouldn't let go. It's like this other software had a grip on my broadcast, and what you don't need to know. This is terrible. It's just unnecessary evil. Yeah, appreciate it. So hi guys, hey everybody. Updates are evil. Look at that. Oh, look at what's the video of this situation. Yeah. Trump put the drone program that was previously on steroids on even more steroids and put it on super steroids. Yeah. This I don't want to hear this. It doesn't matter who we vote for. They're all the same. Both siderism. It would have been the same if Hillary was in office. That's complete garbage. And the people who continue to say that, there are only two reasons for saying it. Either they literally have a brain malfunction, or they have literally so much guilt, I think, about what they did, in swaying the vote towards Trump, towards Jill Stein, away from Hillary. Yeah.
Now back to the Housemarks Radio program, Mega Worldwide, 773-763-9278.
So finally got some video up on the web. So if you want to join us at housemarks.tv, join in the chat there. The call-in number's up there as well, 773-763-9278. We only got a few minutes left in this particular hour, but we want to grab Ike as early in this little break as possible.
Gotta get to the news.
That's right, because we got to get before we get to the news. Okay, is Ike with us? Is he there?
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, how are you?
Hey.
I'm good. Go ahead.
Yeah, the fabulous Mr. Board Op, Lady B sounds smooth on the phone.
It's nice.
And listen, quit lying to everybody. you were taking your weekend Jello bath.
That's true. That's right.
And shooting Jello shots.
That's
while
right.
you were in it, you know.
That's
These
we
are
don't have
no
any
lessons
technical
I
issues.
saw, too.
I couldn't be on camera during that part of it because I can. Aside from the sloshing around, you really can't know. Audio wise, I have a Jello filter on my mic. Right.
Yeah, and I'm glad I didn't go too much further. You know, I'm kicked about halfway into this big industrial mug of Boston, Mr.
Coffee.
Boston Market. Man, what is wrong with me? This particular beer from Boston.
Oh, I see. Boston Lager.
So
yeah.
Listen, you know the hardest. Yeah.
I don't drink it, even I know that.
The toughest thing about doing talk radio on the call-in side. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, I go in with a certain little diameter thing that I'm going to try to get into in a tight spot. Then I listen.
Yes.
And I listen, right? And I listen, and I get another point, and I get another point. So let me see if I can run these down real fast.
Go for it.
You ready?
Yep.
On the Russian deal, nobody should be surprised the information that he's got. If anybody has been paying attention, last year during the Obama administration, 2 years ago, they had an actual pickup of a briefcase that was taken into that operation they had where they threw him out of that two-story house that was on the lake in Maryland.
Yep.
That was where they took that briefcase, and it was bugged. And it sat in that office where they were doing those operations and talking back and forth for if I'm not mistaken, for 5 days, or it might have been longer. Okay?
Wow.
So the wealth of information, I've got a lot of my friends that are getting down on this. Oh, it's not going to happen. We can't, you know, the Republicans are going to block everything. They're going to screw up the blah, blah, blah. I hear all this negative crap.
Right.
If you don't understand what's going on here in the big picture, and if you're not confident enough, you're going to sit there and worry yourself to death. All you need to do is be calm, quit worrying about these little squirrel and being diverted,
right?
Okay, and pay attention, okay. Now, look, at the end of the day, when it comes to guns, oh wait, I got to go back to your first caller.
Sure.
What was that guy? I've heard him forever.
Carl? Yeah.
Oh, Carl from Nashville.
Oh yeah, you guys are cut from the same cloth.
Carl, yeah, listen, Carl. Hey, man, let me turn you on to something, all right?
Does this prove that you're not?
We have a running bet.
Some of us folks down here in the South in the redneck world, you know, we ain't all got just two teeth and drive a old beat-up tractor. And, you know, I mean, I get the prejudice, and I get it all the time.
Right.
All right? It's a well-known fact that, you know, anytime Southerners have been portrayed on TV for the most part,
right,
it was shows like Hee Haw and, you know, that Down on the Farm thing and whatever, okay? Right. We've been painted. You talk about a broad brush. They've taken the whole South out that way.
Right.
And that's where the Democrats are missing. You're missing it. Because I'm telling you right now, here's my hashtag, slay the NRA. That's number one. Number two, down home Democrat.
Yep.
Number three, you know, make them bleed in 18. We want a clean sweep. Right. Everything's laid out in front of us here.
Right.
And tearing each side down and this and that, no, that's not going to do any good. But you've got to understand something. If you're going to bring forward a debate or an argument on immigration or on guns, you had better have your roast in a duck, as they say. I told you I've been in this beer.
I know.
And you better find a way to communicate with these people, okay? The way that I approach guns is I want the toughest gun laws that the world has ever seen. I want, you know, I've told you before, first offense with an illegal weapon that you're not supposed to have,
right,
just for having it,
right,
I'd give you 20 years, and you do every day of it. Take the jails, get the potheads out of there, and the people that aren't violent, and let's use our jails for what they were built for. And for use the Australians. They go to somebody that you work with, or somebody that, you know, does anything. If they go to church, you go talk to the church,
right,
and then you go to a family member. You have to have one from each category or similar church. You go to another place.
Right.
But what I'm saying is they talk to people that know this. Okay.
Yeah.
Lastly, when it comes to immigration, all I say is I am for a functional enforceable, orderly immigration system across the board for wherever they come from and whoever they are.
Right.
That's all you have to communicate.
Right.
You don't have to get into when crap that they spout. You stick with that one point. I want you to have a free, fair, and boom, just like that. That's your main talking point.
Right. I agree. It's kind of in many ways it's just like the idea that the word freedom. The Republicans tend to use the word freedom like they don't mean it. They have the most ideological ideas short of like hyper forceful SJW Antifa crowd. They're cut from the same cloth in that they believe in this kind of authoritarian viewpoint. Everybody must go through their own cultural vetting, whatever their definition of what it's okay to be like is. And this, they use the word freedom though. When they, well, then of course you'd be for gay marriage, wouldn't you? And how about freedom of assembly for, how about Muslims creating a mosque? I'm sure you're for that freedom. Like, well, okay, tap the brakes. They don't really mean it. We're right up against the bottom of it. Thanks, Ike, for not only having a point when you called in first, but also tacking as many as you could fit in and still finish your beer. And I appreciate that. We'll be back after the news with and the best parts of this particular indictment is what it doesn't say. We'll be back. All right. Open sharing. Internet sharing is on. Okay, now we're switching back to this. Hold on one second. This is me. Excuse us for a second, kids. Connecting. Okay, cool. See if this takes a moment to reconnect. Hopefully this makes our audio better, and then we'll fix it. Hi, there's my arm real close. There's a good look at my forearm. Very fine. Luckily I didn't show you the arm with the burn on it. That's this side. That's this guy right here. This one. Okay. Connect. There you go. And Black Panther is blowing the lid off of box. I'm excited to see it. I'm taking Cam to see it tomorrow morning. Speaking of Wonder Woman, it had the highest ratings of a movie premiere on HBO in the last 2 years. Nice. Okay. I have my problems with Wonder Woman, as many of you know. I think made, but that's a longer discussion. That being said, I'm glad it was made and I own it. I don't know how to. Just one question: where do I live? California. Tweeted Ava that the same thing should happen when A Wrinkle in Time is released. Yeah, that won't happen. And Pence is evil too. Black Panther was awesome. Saw it Thursday night. I'm very excited to see it. I mean, I loved the character. Yeah. I like how some people try to play down the Black Panther. Blade was first. Well, Black Panther is the first with mostly black cast, and it's an awesome movie, unlike most. I don't think people are playing down Black Panther, I think there's a tendency to be revisionist and pretend that there was nobody before it all of a sudden, and like erase previous black heroes, and I think there's a value in not doing that. Carrie, wait, why? How? You mean about Wonder Woman? Hundreds of reasons. Let's start with Superman and Wonder Woman aren't men and women; they're gods, and therefore incapable of bravery. And that means that the brave hero in it, that it's really what's his name? Chris Evans's, or not Chris Evans, Chris Pine's movie. Because I don't know, are we back? No, we're not back yet. We got another minute and some. Let's not passing the idea that she supposedly is the one trying to convince the men running things that you must face the god of war, and eliminate him, otherwise more people will die, and ultimately she's kind of walking along trying to help they're trying to help she's trying to help like villagers and all this other stuff on an individual level, and they have to talk her into, no, the big battle has to save all these people. Yes, I can turn the volume up. Hopefully that's better. I mean, it's a lot. Does her invincibility equate to misogyny, or is it merely a structural problem with the story? It's a structural problem with the humanity of both Wonder Woman and Superman. They're not humans. I think Watchmen makes that case very strongly. Of sort of godliness, even your gender doesn't matter. There's nothing, and there's
20 seconds.
Okay, cool. That's a big post show. We'll have a big conversation about this, but I could break that whole movie down about how it's not very pro woman. Ultimately, it's just reflective. Meaning, I get to see a woman as a hero, and that's a good thing. Hallie's not human. That's true.
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out of me before. Charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Damn pus-faced little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
Welcome back to the show. So, because we were dealing with the gun issue, which we will continue to deal with, by the way, because it's until it changes, there's going to need to be a policy focus, especially on the left, that every time we're confronted with this circumstance, it is now very important that people have bills and ideas ready to go. You can no longer, I wrote this on Twitter, but I was like, officially, literally allowed to politicize shootings from this point forward. Just period. There's been enough of these shootings where it has nothing to do. You now have my permission if you ever needed it. This is an official edict from one human being to a bunch of others. You officially have the right to politicize these things, because the only answer, the only solution is a political one. There are no social answers coming. There are no Christian leaders coming to stop gun violence. There are no, philosophical right-wing leaders hoping to solve the issue of and these things, children's lives. So, point on. And if anybody goes, it's too soon to politicize this thing, then say, then don't talk to me about the Second Amendment. I don't want to hear it. If you think it's too soon to politicize it, and I don't, then you should live up to your standard of not politicizing it and don't talk. If that's your answer. Or come up with a solution. solution for this. Otherwise, I don't want to hear it. Okay. So, 13 Russians. And the fascinating part of this whole exchange, that the indictment that came out, which is a 37-page document. I don't know when I last ran out of ink. 36 pages and a signature. That I have my own personal belief for the release of this, since there's no real going after these guys unless they F up and go to a country that has extradition, which is entirely possible, but very unlikely. My belief in why Mueller put this out as is much more awkward for the president, but to both things behind it, but and also that there is a that there was
they call it crimes, and if
that's
you
right.
conspire with them, you're conspiring with a crime.
That's right. And by defining that and having that go through, have it signed of that grand jury that they all agreed that these charges should move forward, this codifies the criminality of Russians interfering on our election. So out the window goes the idea of our they're making it up, or it's an excuse by Democrats for losing an election. There is, in this, for him to now dismiss what it points to as far as, for those of you that don't have it or haven't downloaded it or read it, and I mean you, Johnny Million, individually or the companies that help them, and where they and where they attained or either information or help within the United States, that they took trips to the United States, that they set up artificial, fake bank identities, borrowed and stole and ginned up entirely false identities as on Twitter as ideas. The organization, according to the indictment, the organization employed hundreds of individuals for its online operations, ranging from creators of fictitious personas to technical and administrative support. The organization's annual budget totaled the equivalent of millions of U.S. dollars. Now, that's a lot of people made a lot of hay about that, and we're like, "Oh my God, look at the budget of this thing." We have a $20 trillion economy, and a $7 trillion governmental budget. We control so many varying, PowerPoints in the entire globe. The value versus, versus investment, the return on investment potential in this circumstance is immeasurable. So, the organization was headed by a management group organized into departments, including a graphics department. These are all those memes you're saying everywhere. A data analysis department. By the way, the memes, you can pretty much spot them. They're getting better at English language, but they're still pretty sad at it. I'll give you an example in just one moment that I thought was particularly funny. A data analysis department, a search engine optimization department, an IT department, and a department to maintain the digital infrastructure used in the organization's operations. So it's basically your standard kind of social company weaponized. The organization sought in part to quote what it called, this is not Mueller's definition, this is what they called it in their own internal documents, information warfare against the United States of America. This is an organization in the Russian government overseen by Vladimir Putin, and their description of their job when they have their breakfast, go to work every day, and is information warfare against the United States of America. They obviously worked on platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The Concord, which is one of Management Consulting LLC, and Concord Catering, which is Putin's caterer, by the way, are related Russian entities with various Russian government contracts. Concord was the organization's primary source of funding for its interference operations. Concord controlled funding, recommended personnel, oversaw organization activities with reporting and interaction with organization management. Project Lakta, which not to be confused with Project Latka, thank you very much. But I'm here to destroy America. Thank you very much. So there's a little taxi reference for everybody. There's multiple companies. They created dozens of LLCs, including Mercury LLC, Obsheshipit, which sounds relatively dirty, Obsheshipit LLC, Potential, and then they got tired of coming up with, trying not to have Russian words, so they came up with RSP LLC, ASP LLC, MTT LLC, and then they went, let's go back to Complex Service, Kulta Dinyara, Almira, Pichevik, all these companies under the organization's auspices, and they did things like create social media accounts, arrange for a real person, they paid a person through PayPal accounts and other sources to stand in front of the White House in D.C. under false pretenses and hold up a sign that said, Happy 5016. The idea being, I guess, I'm supposing like they're trying to make him look like he's a controller, and that kind of idea. We look at him as dear leader. So go up there and hold up this sign that, whatever. But dear boss sounds like something you'd write in a Russian, not quite learning how to speak English quite well. Is a leader here and our boss our funder. So this is but the sign said to hey, our boss. Whatever. It goes on to describe repeatedly that they flew to America, they met with people, they started discussing these ideas of nations that would be in charge of protecting them. It's page 12 where it really starts to get good. They mention it on page 4 as well. Count 1 is conspiracy to defraud the United States. That's a huge deal. Conspiracy to defraud the United States. Not the DNC, not the Hillary Clinton campaign, not Hillary Clinton, not the Clinton Foundation, not Bernie Bros. The United States of the conspiracy, and we'll be back right after this, is the conspiracy had its object impairing, obstructing, and defeating the lawful government function dishonest means in order to enable the defendants to interfere with the U.S. political and electoral process, including the 2016 U.S. presidential election. There is no reason to believe they have stopped or will stop. This president is doing nothing to limit their powers, and in fact, he is running interference on how the FBI and the CIA and the refusal to admit that this is actually happening. That's because they need him to maintain some seats in the blue wave that is coming this fall. It's on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. One of these days, you're going to have to do that toss, Johnny. Yep, that's quick. Defendants and their co-conspirators also travel to the United States under pretenses. Man. And thank you, by the way, Robert Reynolds. Thank you, Robert Picula. Thank you, Amy Trudeau, for helping us. Apparently, the bill is coming due in June, so we might have a chance to move in. So, yeah. Man. I had to go through this, break down all the little highlighted parts that I thought stood out. It has the premier bowling program. And how do you use OBS to broadcast? No, I use Mimo Live. I use Wirecast normally, but that's the one that's been kind of messing up. I have OBS, but its audio things became more of an issue. 601 to Phoenix. Wow, are you watching via there? That's amazing. Are you listening? Random stuff. How it's that kind of day. I see. Yeah. Remember when the 666 action occurs, it only offers $1,000 on the price. That's true. Delayed by a sick passenger, we had to divert to Wichita. Wow. I did. I looked into those. The problem is getting the audio in from Chicago and having a sourced audio. I still have to do that.
15 seconds.
Cool. You know what, Rocky Mountain Mike? I like me.
To the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, 773-763-9278.
Okay, it's too easy, this stuff, so I'm going to blow through some of the things that stood out to me that I read, and then we're going to discuss them. On page 12, line 30, defendants and their co-conspirators also traveled and attempted to travel to the United States under false pretenses in order to collect intelligence for their interference operations. When they went there, defendants and their co-conspirators learned from a, quote, real U.S. person that they should Florida. Some of these people are named in the indictment. Some that means there's more to come. This is the indictment of the Russians, and he said, "Oh, I didn't know they were Russians when I sold them." Like, dude, you're selling identities to people. What part of busted do you not understand? Okay. To create political intensity through supporting radical groups, users and economic situation, and oppositional social movements. They don't just do this in the United States, by the way. Organization-controlled pages addressed a range of issues, including immigration, with groups names including Secured Borders, the Black Lives Matter movement, with group names including activists, religion, with Muslims of America, and Army of Jesus, and certain geographic regions in the United States, with a group including South United and Heart, which these are secession movements. By the way, the Russians have been supporting secession movements in countries all over the globe. Spain, most notably, was one of the most recent ones. They've been pushing the Oaxacan separatists in Mexico. This is kind of start wiggling. This is their situation. They used the Tennessee GOP Twitter account, which was retweeted by Trump and I think Trump Jr. twice during the 2016 election, which is very odd. 10 GOP, the account falsely claimed to be controlled by U.S. Senate political party. Over time, the 10 GOP had more than 100,000 online followers. The organization's IT department purchased space on computer servers inside the if you ever use or whatever. Okay, so those are none of them. Watch them go. This is a good American-made, American-owned VPN company. It's not, anyways, I'm going to get distracted again. Okay, so line 41, page 16. In orders also used, possessed, and transferred without lawful authority the social security numbers and dates of real U.S. persons without those persons' knowledge. You're seeing effectively them borrowing or stealing without permission U.S. IDs of living and dead people, and creating also obtained and attempted to obtain false identification documents to use as proof of identity in connection with maintaining accounts and purchasing advertisements on social media sites. They engaged in operations primarily intended to communicate derogatory information, to denigrate other candidates such as Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio, and to support Bernie Sanders and then candidate Donald Trump. They apparently had a tiered version of what would cause the most havoc. The first being Donald Trump, and then Bernie Sanders. The idea that hadn't won the primary, and so by continually driving this wedge to support Bernie Sanders, they, considering the vote difference in a lot of these states was in the realm of like 70,000 votes nationwide in these. Clearly, it worked. So, by the way, that means Rod Rosenstein's statement that there's no signs that it affected the election is garbage. That's not true. That's an assertion without evidence. Journalists were instructed to post content that focused on opportunity to criticize Hillary and the rest, except Sanders and Trump. We support them. That was a direct quote from their internal emails. On or about September 14, 2016, in an internal review of an organized book group called Secured Borders, the account specialist was criticized for, quote, having a low number of posts dedicated to criticism. It is imperative to intensify criticizing Hillary Clinton in future posts. This is a fake organization run in Russia pretending to be to support secure borders in the United States. It was a pro-wall group in Russia. The hashtags Trump 2016, Trump Train, MAGA, I Won't Protect Hillary, and Hillary for Prison. On October 16, 2016, defendants and their used the organization-controlled account yeah, woke blacks, which sounds like this is, hey man, we're woke blacks, okay? Woke blacks. A particular hype and hatred for Trump is misleading the people and forcing blacks to vote Hillary. We cannot resort to the lesser of two devils. Oof. Then we'd surely be better off without the black vote methodology. Never mind the fact that it's very awkward when black people don't call black people, they call them blacks, which sounds like an external voice. And the lesser of two evils, Russia, not the lesser of two devils. I don't want to help you, but maybe they made a decision.
Sure. In America, you do not think the devil is evil.
No, that's why. Only we know those over here. So, and they also, the Blacktivist account posted a post that read in part, choose peace and vote for Jill Stein. Trust me, it's not a wasted vote. They also had a group called United Muslims of America, which the whole purpose of this group was to make people think that the group United Muslims of America was supporting Hillary, because but only sending its posts to right-wingers. See, so this is one of their more sophisticated aims, is that they literally created this, like, we love Hillary kind of United Muslims of America group, and then mostly supporting Hillary. And then, this idea that, like, and the ones that they sent to Muslim groups from their account specifically were ones where they supported not voting at all. So they would send stuff like America, like Hillary will protect Muslims, and then this quote that alleges she supported Sharia law, which is fake. But they would send out these memes going, "Thank you, Secretary Clinton, for supporting American Muslims and the Sharia law," unironically, and then sending ones to that said, American Muslims are boycotting the elections. Most of the American Muslim voters refused to vote for Hillary Clinton because she refused she wants to continue the war on Muslims in the Middle East and vote yes for invading Iraq. By the way, the idea that you would think that Trump was a superior choice to even Hillary Clinton carrying forward the status quo in the Obama administration, which is not what she was pushing to wind down these efforts more so than Trump, is absurd, but whatever. called Stop AI. The post alleged that Hillary Clinton has already committed voter fraud during the Democratic Iowa caucus. They started pushing the voter fraud hashtag during that time, and many people remember that taking off and becoming a big thing amongst Bernie supporters. That was created and pushed by this particular Russian group. On or about November 2nd, 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators used the same account to post allegations of voter fraud by counting tens of thousands of ineligible mail-in votes being reported in Broward County, Florida. So they were pushing this. Basically, they thought in case she was going to win, they wanted to undermine the value of her vote. Through false personas, they began to produce, purchase, and post advertisements on U.S. social media and other online sites expressly advocating the election of then-candidate Trump and expressly opposing Clinton. Defendants and their co-conspirators did not report their expenditures to the Federal Election Commission or register as foreign agents within the U.S. Department of Justice. We'll continue this when we come back. There's a lot more in this to unpack. They even give examples, I'm showing it on the screen right now, of the actual ads that they ran. And the dates involved. This is the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT820.com.
I bet if Lady B were in here, we'd be going to commercial.
Oh, Lady B's not in there? So we're just...
No, she left. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Do you know how to take us to commercial, Johnny Million? You don't, do you?
I have no idea. I would love to go over there and start hitting buttons, though.
I say go for it. I mean, honestly, at this point, this is... I hope she's okay. She knows it's time for break. So now I'm concerned. Lady B, if you're within earshot, we need you. But if not, if we're not going to go to break, then I will continue to read some of this until she gets back, because it's no skin off my nose. They had excerpts of advertisements put forth. The approximate date April 6th to October 19th, 2016. A great number of black people support us saying that Hillary Clinton is not my president. I say no to Hillary Clinton. I say no to manipulation. Join our Hillary Clinton for Prison 2016. Donald wants to defeat terrorism. Hillary wants to sponsor it. Vote Republican, vote Trump, and support the Second Amendment. Hillary Clinton doesn't deserve the black vote. Trump is our only hope for a better future. Hashtag never Hillary. Hashtag Hillary for prison. Hashtag Hillary for prison with a 4 instead of FOR. Hashtag Hillary for prison 2016. Hashtag Trump 2016. Hashtag Trump. Hashtag Trump for president with the number. Ohio wants Hillary for prison with a 4. Hillary Clinton has already committed voter fraud during the Iowa Democratic caucus. We cannot trust Hillary Clinton to take care of our veterans. Among all the candidates, Donald Trump is the one and only who can defend the police from terrorists. That's amazing. And Hillary is Satan, and her crimes and lies prove just how evil she is. Lady B is back, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue with more of what's in this indictment, and then your calls about it. 773-763-9278. Carrie, there is no such thing as a non-tainted person. And what they actually do matters more. I was happy to have guessed that they had established a crime in order to exchange conspirators later. To charge conspirators later. I didn't even have to have Rachel explain to me. Yeah. If you're into 3D, then go for it, but it's gorgeous either way. I missed that. Should I see Black Panther in 3D? Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I know how, but there are degrees. I agree. But but in this circumstance, look at what Trump is doing versus what Hillary or Bernie would have done in the same situation. The degrees are immaterial. You're talking about inches seen from the sky compared to miles. But you know me, Carrie. This is a running issue. I just want Bernie to speak up faster when breaking news happens. He uses the same talking points over and over again like a robot. Well, it's because he's sort of a one-issue voter, type of candidate. It's all about interference by the rich stealing from the poor. It's just the socialist aspect of the argument, and unfortunately, it also doesn't land as strongly as he thinks it does. There's only so many Occupy people, and they always, by the time they grow up, they end up voting either libertarian, right wing, or not at all. Can everyone hear him, Hal? But yeah. Can you guys hear me? Okay. But do you know what ACA out of détente means? AC out of. Technology does not scare you. It should. Learn as much as you can. I stood up a new website and have over 50 fake users signed up, and most of them referring to a website were Russian.ru. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Good to know. Yeah. There's a lot of Chinese New Year stuff next to my neighborhood right now, which is very cool. By the way, happy Chinese New Year to everybody. There we go. There it is. Gong Xi Fa Cai, everybody. Riffing Apollo 1, I see. I think you, same way I saw later. Sally calls them prison cells.
I'm Dick Kay from Back on the Beat, and here is the mega worldwide radio program with Hal Sparks.
There we go. Stay tuned for Dick Kay after the show, by the way. And I will be coming in to Chicago twice this spring to do special CPT events. One's coming up. Yeah, we're going to be in studio. Look at that. And then once we're going to, and another one, I think the weekend of May 26th, we're working on it right now. So wait for full confirmation that we're going to be having a big fan meet and greet gathering of the show, like a real radio show, at a pizza joint, where Norm has had his as well, and then I might be coming in for the primaries coming up, so it's going to be good. We're stepping it up this year, and it'll certainly be easier for audio and video when I'm actually in studio. All right, so in June 2016, continuing with the indictments, the co-conspirators used the Facebook group United Muslims of America to promote a rally called Support Hillary, Save American Muslims. Defendants and their co-conspirators recruited a real U.S. person to hold up a sign depicting Clinton and a quote attributed to her saying, "I think Sharia law will be a powerful new direction of freedom." So this is the fascinating part. Okay, so this is the one area where I actually made a note next to it with the word collusion. Defendants and their co-conspirators also used false U.S. personas to contact multiple grassroots groups supporting then-candidate Trump in an unofficial capacity. Many of these groups agreed to participate in the Florida Goes Trump rallies and served as local coordinators. So if at any point any of these people knew these people were not Americans, it's game, set, match. They for this rally in Florida, they bought Facebook advertisements, paid U.S. persons to participate in, perform certain tasks at rallies, communicate with real U.S. persons in grassroots organizations, and then candidate Trump. In on or about November 12th, 2016, at the same time, defendants and their co-conspirators through another organization control group organized a rally in New York called "Trump is Not My President," held on or about November 12th, 2016. Similarly, defendants and their co-conspirators organized a rally entitled "Charlotte Against Trump" in Charlotte, North Carolina, held on November 19th, 2016. So this is their sow discord. Once it's done, then they turn their purpose now is to divide the electorate and make it as emotionally violent as possible. Defendants and their co-conspirators thereafter destroyed evidence for the purpose of impeding investigation. There was Kaverzina wrote in an email to a family member, and this is, you might have heard this one, but this is really fascinating. It tells a lot that they had the emails, the internal personal emails of people working in this organization. She said, quote, "We had a slight crisis here at work. The FBI busted our activity," in parentheses, not a joke, "so I got preoccupied with covering tracks together with colleagues." She further wrote, "I created all these pictures and posts, and Americans believed it was written by their people." They used a false U.S. persona named Matt Skyber. So if that guy's following you, just let you know. On June 24th, 2016, they purchased advertisements on Facebook to promote the Support Hillary, Save American Muslims category. They almost got you, Johnny, because they used Josh Milton 024 at gmail.com was one of the things. That's not that far off.
No.
Josh
Milton.
Yeah. I'm just saying, is that one of your fake personas that you'd forgotten you weren't using anymore, and they got the password?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
They figured out that it was Kiss 1977 asterisk exclamation point is your password.
Rules ROOLZ.
Right, rules with a Z. So count 2 is by the way, that's count 1. There's almost over 20 pages of that. If not, there's almost 30 pages on count 1, which is conspiracy against the United States. Count 2 is conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud. This is where they set up fake bank accounts. The object of the conspiracy in this case was it had as its object the opening of accounts under false names at U.S. financial institutions and a digital payments company in order to receive and send money into and out of the United States to support the organization's operations in the U.S. and for self-enrichment. They have the dates, the account names, and the means of identification, including the person's social security number and the date of birth, whether real or faked. They had the birth dates of home addresses and social security numbers of real U.S. persons they used to open PayPal accounts on June 16th, July 21st, August 2nd, November 11th, and January 18th of 2016 to 2017. Specifically, they had the dates involved, and I'll show them up on the chat room, and you can certainly look this up if you want to follow this. But they have a number of banks. By the way, they don't list the actual banks in the version that I have. It's just Bank 1, Bank 2, Bank 4, Bank 5, Bank 3, and PayPal. PayPal doesn't get any coverage. It doesn't get any a digital payment company. And then counts 3 through 8, which are the last 2 pages, are they use all the evidence previously mentioned and most, if not all, of the defendants for aggravated identity theft and which are
aggravated identity theft. Is that we're I am so going to take your identity.
I'm so
and you're going to hate it.
No, they give you a noogie while they're doing it. They grab your head and go, "Come here, you. I'm taking your identity." See, that they
what just happened there?
I don't know. Violated felony laws and to wit, wire fraud and bank fraud. Here's the fascinating part. Okay, so this. Most people went, obviously about the identity stuff. They're talking about forfeiture, allegations and what they're going to do once they catch these people and blah blah blah. But one of the things that got brushed over that I found striking in this was to wit, wire fraud and bank fraud. Right, this is the 2 things. So this is the anchor part of this entire thing is that these folks committed wire fraud and bank fraud, and then. Do you know what happened late yesterday afternoon after this came out? Did you hear the other story?
Nope. Got no idea. What?
The Paul Manafort.
Oh yeah, I do know what happened.
That's right. And do you know what Paul Manafort's extra charges refer to? Bank fraud.
About a whole bunch of falsified financial statements.
That's right.
To help him get giant loans.
That's right. So I
know things. I'm smart.
See, you thought you didn't know, but you do know. I find it curious that on the same day that they're dropping these things, these charges about bank fraud with these guys, they also hit upon the bank fraud aspect of his and released that same information. There is, by the way, no evidence really that that they're related directly by what's in here, because it looks like, he falsified his information in getting a loan in his, profit and loss statements when he was getting a bank loan to the tune of millions of dollars, by the way. Which, by the way, he may not have been falsifying. He may have been telling the truth is the issue. But he didn't claim those amounts of money. So either they can prove he does have those the amounts of money, and specifically he can, this will help him make a, what is that doing? He gave himself cover by saying, I make all this money or whatever. And then when he went to the government and said, I don't make any money from foreign sources, but, so he's lying to somebody is the idea. And so when they said he falsified information on his, on these, the amount of money his company's making that he was presenting to get these loans, he may have very well been telling the truth, but it's considered false because of the funds, the lack of information about where those funds came from. And it's curious that all of a sudden he's getting busted for this when they've just figured out where some of this money is coming in. It may be unrelated, but it is curious that during the findings that the Mueller team has come up with in terms of who's committing wire and money, and bank fraud when and where, they're turning up both Russian hackers and spies within the United States and Robert Mueller at the very same time. That these accounts, these payments, the money flowing back and forth is linked. That's the amazing part of all this. Now, like I said, I think this is just the opening salvo in these. I think you're going to see the big fear about Trump firing Robert Mueller will come when the next big stack of indictments comes down, which will be American citizens, more of them within the Trump organization. And that may end up being a slow trickle. That may be what we're seeing. And that all the Russians, you get in one lump sum. All the Americans, you're getting piece by piece. Gates is going to flip. We'll see if Manafort ultimately flips. But this is a big. Well, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll take your calls. 773-763-9278. Living on the edge. Manafort was defrauding the worth of his properties he was using for his bail. He was also, Charles, in the paperwork that came out, he was also saying that his company, in the mortgages that he got on those properties, and it, maybe splitting hairs on this, but the paperwork he gave to the bank to get the mortgage in the first place, he was falsifying the amount of money his company was making. Burning up with callers. Hey, Jude. Yeah, and Julie, I saw your statement about me not being human earlier in the discussion about Wonder Woman and Superman, I'm just clarifying you were talking about me and not Hal Vickery, because it's nice to be in a situation where I don't know which Hal you're talking to. But I'm guessing it was my reference to those two things. And by the way, thanks for Julie and Carl also being our moderators in the chat too. You guys run a tight ship. I appreciate it. Sorry about cursing, but GOP candidates bring out the worst in me. Just ever. I don't believe
15
Netflix.
seconds.
Thank you. Yeah, no, Netflix, the way around it has always been to have separate profiles.
Now back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, 773-763-9278.
So the weekend of May 26th, the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, will have a fan outreach event, and details to come as we work those out. And, of course, coming back, I think it's March 14th. I think I'm going to be in for the primaries. Yeah.
That's Lady B's birthday.
I know. Very excited. We have gifts and everything. It's going to be great. We're going to have a cake, and it's going to be great. So, and then my band's playing a week from Monday on the 26th at El Cid here in Los Angeles. And this Tuesday, I'll be singing at the Ultimate Jam Night at the Whiskey in honor of one of the security guards, Ron, who was a really good guy and who passed away this week, sadly, on his birthday. And so we'll all be doing songs dedicated to him. If you're in the LA area, you're welcome to come to those type of things. And then, of course, I've got new stand-up bookings I'll be announcing quite soon. That being said, do we have some callers? Because I want to make sure we got.
We do, yeah.
Okay.
We've got a David from Sacramento with a lot of tenacity on line one.
Right on. Hey, David, welcome.
All right.
You still with us, David?
Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for hanging in there.
Good. Well, that was definitely the Carl show last hour.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I want to give you guys some facts, and I hope there's a lot of people listening to your show.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we know that there's since 1999 of April, there's been 21 since Columbine attacks, mass shootings in the United States.
Right.
21.
Yeah.
Since 21. 8 that were killed and above.
Yeah.
All of them. The thing about it here is it's going to blow a lot of people away. Then you guys didn't even know this. There are 8 million people that have AR-15s in the United States today.
Mm-hmm.
Today.
Mm-hmm.
That's on CNN reports. You guys did not know that, but they're out there. 8 million. Yes, there is.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to understand is that some of these people that Donald Trump taking $30 million from the NRA, Mike Pence took $32,000, Paul Ryan took $342,000 from the NRA, Jeff Sessions $22,000. What is this? Marco Rubio? He basically took $3.2 million, his own state.
Right.
And then Senator Democrat Bill Nelson took a little bit over $11,000. What about Pam Bondi? Pam Bondi from Florida, the Attorney General, $75,000 from the NRA. People, don't you understand that these people are basically lobbyists? Their contributions that they're giving to these people and you, yes, you are the voters. You voted for your vote paid for this mass shooting because you got these people that are in office today that are basically supporting the NRA, that don't want to do a damn thing in the United States. And when you people say, what I want to say that when you people say that, oh, the prayers and all this other crap that you say, let's pray for the family and all this other crap. Look, if they would have done something, none of this would have happened, in the school. And what about the killing that happened? 58 people that were killed on October 1st. From the Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
What did Donald Trump say after he appeared on TV? He says, I'm going to go ahead and do something. He was going to go ahead and do something.
Bump stocks still legal.
And nothing was done.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, that's why the pushback has to be from now on. It is never too soon to politicize the events because the answer will be political. And the idea that the NRA is getting money from from Russians again to kind of sow this discord and push this violence because they know this creates even more friction within the United States. It is now okay for liberals and progressives, I think, on both fronts to say it's never too early to politicize these events because we as a society have a government so that we can create a safe living space where people can express themselves to the fullest without having to worry about being shot just because they went to the wrong middle school. And the other thing is, your thoughts and prayers have been answered. People are pissed. This is the result of thoughts and prayers, okay? The result of thoughts and prayers when you give them is that people are going to get angry and want laws. Every time somebody says, we're sending our thoughts and prayers and it's too early to politicize or whatever, no. We've heard your thoughts and prayers. And the Lord has told me it's time for law. It is time for the law of man.
Yep.
And you know, faith without works is nothing, saith the Lord. Okay? So this is, every time somebody says we're sending our thoughts and prayers, like, guess what? Your prayers have been answered. People want a change in the law. People are going to rally. People are going to march. People are going to go against politicians who take money from the NRA. And here's the thing. You can be pro-Second Amendment and never be anywhere near the NRA. You do not need the NRA's money to be a worthwhile, you know, pro-Second Amendment politician who's supporting the rights of people to have guns to defend themselves or to hunt or reasonable collectors or any of that stuff. And so anybody who takes their money from this point forward, they have to understand that you're not, this isn't proof that you support gun rights. This is proof that you support the undermining of gun rights long-term through the murder of U.S. citizens. Because there will be no answer but a shutdown at some point. There will be, at some point, there will be a tipping point where people are just too tired of walking around fearing for their lives because of these open carry psychopaths who don't understand that the idea that you can walk around with a machine gun strapped to your back just lets crazy people get closer to their target without being bothered by a police officer before they open fire. I mean, this, you know, there are tons of, you know, of these like open carry nutcases who are like, I should be able to carry my gun anywhere I want. Well, then fine. Then a dude in a turban walking down the street should be fine with you too, with a machine gun walking straight up to the front door of your church. You have no legal reason to bother this man in any way until the first bullet leaves the barrel. And you are creating a situation where the guns that will be used in these circumstances are so efficient that by the time you even draw, 6 people are dead. This is the priority of the modern evangelical hypocristians, as Carl would say, you know, and it has to change. And so, like I said, from this point on, the idea that it's too soon to politicize is garbage, and your thoughts and prayers have been answered. The Lord has told me to tell you to go away. that you are a hypocrite. And if Jesus hated anything, he hated people who are hypocrites. Anyways, I think we're right up against the bottom. If we got one more caller, we can get it. We got a minute. We can give them if they want to hop on.
Do we do Robert from Florida on
cool.
line 4?
Yeah, Robert.
I think we do.
Yeah, Robert, go for it real quick.
Okay, you know me. I can talk fast. I just want to say hello, Lady B, hello, other guy.
Johnny Million.
Three stories, all jaw-dropping, right?
Yes.
You got the revelation of Russia helping, fix the election.
Yep.
You got obviously the gun tragedy. But to me, the surprise was that Trump, I had to write it down. I got it, but on the whole so long, I forgot my joke here.
The porn star?
Here it is. Yes, the porn star. You mean he cheats? He was cheating on his porn star? Stormy Daniels was cheated on?
Yeah.
The irony there, no?
Yeah, he was cheating on his wife with Stormy Daniels and cheating on Stormy Daniels with this with a playmate that he saw multiple times. He offered her money. She wouldn't take it. But her story was bought by the Inquirer and they shelved it. The Inquirer.
Yeah, but now, that story, she's smartened up at least.
And the pecker that's running the Inquirer. Yeah.
Go ahead and sue me. I'll get more money from a book right. So
yeah.
Go ahead, take that back.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I was like, that's an amazingly cheap amount of money for a story that big.
They're used to getting screwed over. I mean, look at their job.
Right.
No no pun intended.
I don't know, but I'm just saying, hold out for more cash next time. And secondly,
all right, I got 2 points real fast on the other ones, and I'll talk real fast.
Yeah.
The 2 years and I had been you got to be 25-year-old to show up at the airport to rent a car. I had to show a license and registration, and I got insurance and all that. Why here in Florida you got to be 18 to get an AR or whatever?
AR-15. I agree. Absolutely. We're out of time. Thank you so much for crowbarring those points in. Thank you, Johnny Million. Thank you, Lady B. Thank you, everybody in the chat room. Love you guys. I'll be post-showing for about a half hour after the show. Got to cut it short because I'm racing to the airport. But if you want to stick around at houseparks.tv and join us in the conversation there, you are more than welcome. This is the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Lady B. Thank you, Johnny Million. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye, Lady B. All right. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm back. Hi. All right. Hi, chat room. This is... Oh. Phew. All right. So, quick post-show today. Hold on 1 second. I got to create a highlight so we know what this is. Let's see if we can start this. Did it work? Yeah. Welcome to the HSRPM post show. This might be the only part of the show where we don't have any technical difficulties. Well, fingers crossed. Who can say? We'll see. But it gives me a chance to talk to you guys in the chat room. Post show, like I said, today's is only going to be about a half hour because I have got to race off to the airport. I'm spending a little Papa weekend with me and my son Camden and my dad. We're all having a 3-generational men hangout. We're gonna go to museums, and we're gonna go to we're gonna see Black Panther, and we have a full itinerary. It's gonna be a good time. And I wanted to say thanks to everybody who gave, and Julie, wow, thank you. I'm not a Russian. You can take my money. Thank you, Julie. But you do live in Germany. Yes, the Germans. Thank you, Robert Squared, Amy Trudeau. Thank you very much, and Hal Vickery. Thanks again, and they use the Mevo cameras at where is it? Oh, at Flappers at the Comedy Club. She got one, and she's a big fan of it, which is very cool. But it makes it difficult for me to do the chat and all that kind of stuff. How should go to a sweat lodge and get in touch with yourselves? That's not a bad idea. Although Cam's a little small for a sauna. Do we get those cool uniforms after the takeover? Yeah, absolutely. Don't tease me, how you know I love your accent. Oh, thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Man. Yeah, I'm a man. Dude, I sent yours. So apparently the shooter's classmates have been reporting him to authorities since he was in middle school, and yet nothing was done. So the adults are at fault. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the problem you have is like, at what point does your community get to say that you as an individual are too concerning for this kind of situation? And what constitutes a terroristic threat? I mean, obviously, if you say you're going to shoot up the school, I think that would qualify, even if you don't have a political axe to grind. It seems a very obvious circumstance. Anyway, so there you go. My town is so broke from tax cuts that we can only afford 2 billboards. Where did you get the $700 for the gun? That's a good question. Which museums are you guys visiting, Hal? A president, what can I say? It won't draw undue attention. A presidential library in an undisclosed location. I'll DM you later and tell you whatever. But, yeah. I assume all the Russians are spies. Have since I first Bullwinkle. Yeah. I will look up those places. GoFundMe, yeah. He was posting threats to kill LGBT people and people of color for years. Yeah, I don't get it how you can... thank you, Carl. I don't get it how you can openly threaten that you're going to shoot a place up and that doesn't affect your ability to buy a high capacity, quick shot gun. It's a combat weapon. And again, the idea that, you can use whatever phrase you want to use and there will always be a way to wiggle around it. I know more than anybody how, you can bend language to make it mean whatever you want. But the assault weapons idea, calling them assault weapons, for example, didn't really fly because of the idea that, well, soldiers use them and they're not committing assault. And so therefore it kind of, and then it became, well, every weapon's an assault weapon. You're technically, then in that case, you're assaulting everybody. And my way of saying it is combat weapons. Combat weapons have no use on American streets. They have no purpose on American streets. And if you're going to own them as a collector or as a user or whatever, you should have to register them the same as if you had a tank or you were a prop person who had a rocket launcher that you built or used for prop purposes that was original and modified or what have you. You have to have a license for that. Remember the rifle squad? Yeah, they got 10 grand from his rifle squad got 10 grand from the NRA. Hal doesn't want any weirdos following him. Come on. Yeah, that's kind of true. Hal, do you see the pic of that survivor who held up signs saying the NRA is a terrorist organization? He's my hero. Yeah, I did. He was making YouTube comments. Again, yeah, there's so many like violent YouTube threats. And again, YouTube isn't going to, there's a certain point where, this idea that you deserve privacy in online exchanges is odd to me. And maybe it's because I've been out in public, for the better part of my life, obviously, but known in many ways for the last 17 years, 18 years. And so I don't get to hide, and nor would I, behind an anonymous, profile. That if I say something and, that's my true belief, I say it, and it is attributed to me. And if there's ramifications from that, I deal with them. I will either clarify what I meant or take something back or stand by it, as an adult, as a human being. But if you're interacting and you've got some sort of like, and we all use, online, pseudonyms for those. But if you don't have your real name sort of attached to it, or at least have some sort of verification process, like I personally think that social media should require like gray checks that, and asterisks for bots. So if something's a bot, and there are lots of bots that operate on Twitter that work for companies or organizations or whatever, but if they're, the official accounts for most major corporations, you can assume is curated by a bot. But there should be an asterisk next to every bot. Like, so I know I'm talking to or seeing if you look in what was retweeted, then I can see, okay, a bot did that. That's an automated process, and I can tell the difference between the two. And if I can't tell the difference between, your account, whether or no it's a bot or not, it gets kicked off Twitter, right? I mean, that seems simple enough. And that if people don't want to get verified, that's up to them, but then I know how seriously to take them or not. So blue checks for celebrities or well-known organizations, gray checks for people who have provided some form of, genuine identification. Yeah, don't use social media much, Facebook, Twitter very late. I use Twitter a lot, and I like the exchanges that I get to be in, and I certainly, obviously I'm very personally connected to a lot of you guys via these things, and I like that fact. But I'm also very aware that, there's a good portion of the pushback that I get is fake. And I'll give you an example. So gun, the shooting happens. I immediately post my list of gun reform now ideas. Twofold. One, because I actually have ideas. And two, because you get these people who are saying, that people on the left don't have any ideas. That they just, Ben Shapiro even had a video that he made or whatever saying it's just, gun reform now or is just a phrase people use, but they don't really have any ideas on how it would be implemented. So I presented several options. You can debate every single point of them. You can offer amendments or variations on them, but don't pretend I don't have an idea, was basically the idea. It's included in that was smart guns, because that will limit the number of kids who end up shooting themselves with their parents' gun when they find it. Universal background checks, which means gun shows. Limited 10-round magazines for purchase. If you have bigger ones you can get them with a license if you have some reason for having them. But if you don't have a license for them and they find that you have them, that's a violation, and can result in prison time. It's the simplest kind of way to deal with that. Because if you have to shoot more than 10 bullets at a clip without reloading, you're probably killing masses of people, and you're the problem. And if you can reload in those circumstances, and you can always, again, apply for a license to have bigger clips. Fine. But all these are, like I said, they're all debatable. So I put those up, and I had a bunch of pushback, obviously, and a couple of them were obviously people. But there was one on there that was particularly odd, jumped on 3 of my things. I had a bit of an exchange. And then I said at one point, he goes, get out of my country or whatever, if you don't like it. And I was like, it's not your country. And what I meant was, it's not your country because it's everybody. It's our country. It's every American gets to have a say in this. And by God, the dude disappeared. He just straight up vanished. He muted and split. And I have reason to believe that that's because he thought I figured out that it was not an American making the point. And I will hold to that belief until I find evidence otherwise, because I know how quickly these guys jumped on him, especially when it comes to like known accounts or blue check accounts like mine, which get more attention. YouTube is perfect for our attention spans. It's funny, Ellie, because I don't believe the attention span story. I don't. The short attention span idea, because quite frankly, you guys dig in and you're with me on this show for a long length of time. Shorter videos are, end up being something people want to watch, like a 3 or 5 minute video or whatever. But after they do, they often binge watch 10 of similar length. So it's not that their attention span is short. It's, it might be that certain ideas are like bite-sized morsels and others are a meal, and people binge watch entire shows all day long. So this idea that our attention span doesn't hold to certain ideas is sort of antithetical. As a matter of fact, while everybody was chasing shorter and shorter attention spans in media, that's you can argue that's how Netflix got ahead by not doing that, by giving you the ability to both long-form stuff and to watch similar things in a row, right? You must have let's see, just a simple gun rights idea. You must carry gun insurance. You're responsible if you lose a gun, and and you're responsible if it's used in a crime when not reported. You also have a 5-year waiting period after 18 years of age before being able to transfer from place to place, right? Films have gotten longer, so I don't buy the short attention span. Yeah, I would rather watch you than TV or movies. Oh, thank you, Julie. I'm glad I'm on for as long as I am then. I'll try to find a video audio that aired on CNN. A student from Florida high school. Her name is Emma Gonzalez. She blew me away speaking at the anti-gun rally. I did see her. Yes. I want you to see her. I did. Yeah. Great. Now I feel the urge to go on a binge watch something on Netflix. Anything. There you go. I recommend the Chicago Code. I liked it very much, and it's only 1 season. And the first season of The Killing is good. After that, it kind of they lose their mind. I recently watched a 3-part YouTube series over an hour each detailing why a recent movie was objectively bad, so you can pay attention if you're interested in the subject. That's exactly right, Evernum. If a teacher has a way liberal opinion and works at a conservative school, bad actors, not actors, could intentionally misinterpret comments. See how clever I am? Yes, indeed, Julie. I recommend The Crown, especially in 4K. Yeah, Carl, Summer is binge watching The Crown right now. She loves it. So, I'm excited about going to see Black Panther. And like I said, I own and like Wonder Woman. The short reason why I think it's not as pro-woman as people would like it to be is a couple fronts. One is it has the essential problem that that was in the Batman versus Superman movie, which is, and it's a good point that Batman makes. He goes, "You're not gods aren't brave, men are brave." So he's talking to Superman because, and that's why Superman ultimately has to kill himself on a spear of kryptonite at the end to be a hero, and he still comes back to life. But anyways, the idea is that he's not a hero. Batman's a hero because Batman can die. Same thing is true of Wonder Woman. She deflects bullets with her bracelets. She uses a shield, but she doesn't technically need to. The bullets wouldn't actually pierce her flesh, because they can't. And you can tell by how hard she's hit by the God of War that that there's no munition on Earth that would really actually do her any damage. And the God Killer, the sword that she represented, the phallus, both in mockery and in battle for a long time. But ultimately, the idea is that she has a sword now, a claimed phallus essentially that she can use as a power weapon. And then they destroy it at the end and say, it's not the God Killer, you are. So the sword breaks. When in reality, they simply could have recognized she's a god. He could have gotten hold of it, put her in some real jeopardy, and she could have survived and beat back the attack by a phallus, which in and of itself would be great to that interplay. The emotional stuff, it is a movie, but it's being, I understand that, but it's representative of a character. And the way it's being spoken of is that it is it is an empowering voice for women. And I'm not against it. Like I said, I think its value is in representation. You see a powerful woman and you see a powerful character, makes you feel good, and then you find in yourself what you can do with that, because that's what your heroes mean to you. Let's realize that when you have a hero, both in your music heroes, your artistic heroes, whatever, and people go, I don't like to have heroes because they'll let you down or whatever. It has nothing to do with that person in real life or even the character. What good parts of their being resonate with you are the seeds of goodness that are within you that you can grow. If you see how a great musician touches someone or whatever, that's something you have within you that you can cultivate, right? And heroic acts, when you see those and certain heroic acts affect you more than others, that is the seed of something you have in you that you can feed. It has nothing to do with whether that person has normal human failings or not. People get bogged down in that because they feel like their heroes let them down at some point. It's not the point. What shined within them shines within me, and therefore I can move on that. So that's always got to be the point. And when people lose sight of that, that's when we get this kind of nihilistic, no heroes attitude. And everybody's tainted. Everybody's, worthless. So it's a big deal. So the story was about her coming into her power, and the women don't get to see that a lot without being victimized first. To see her do that in power was very inspirational. I completely agree. The only problem I had was that ultimately the hero of the story ends up being Chris Pine because he sacrifices himself. He's the one who pays the ultimate price. And she comes forward going, we've got to destroy the God of War because if we don't take out the top, all these people will die anyways, right? And then as she goes through this, she has this, what's been considered a stereotypical female response to these, to the injured. So much so that it's distracting her from actually stopping the war. And it's the men who go, you can't worry too much about these local victims. We've got to stop the big thing or this will continue to happen, which was her mandate when she left the island and became Chris Pines. And then they made her, the sort of Flibberty Gibbet, doesn't know how to dress like a modern woman without a sword and a shield and that kind of like comic relief aspects of it. All I know is that the island was fine until the guys with guns showed up. Right. He died in it. Yeah. Chris Pine's character dies. Yeah, he blows up. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it's been out for a while, kids. Spoiler alert, it doesn't count after the movie's been out for like half a year. There's a biopic about the people who created the Wonder Woman character. Hopefully there's an uncut version of it. Giddy. Oh, yeah. But again, Ginger, the interesting thing was it wasn't the story of the other women on that island coming into their own strength. It was about a girl finding out she's a god. So it was very similar in many ways to the Matrix story, which is finding out you're already strong, which is not a bad thing ultimately, but it is still the princess storyline that is bled into, into all gender storylines ultimately, is that it's not that you earned your keep, but that you were magical to begin with. And which is also, not ultimately healthy, I think. She's fighting Ares. Chris gets in a plane. He flies and boom. Yeah, right. A new term for right-wingers, Libertarians. Right, there you go. Ooh, Matrix. Yeah. Ever notice how Themyscira costumes change in Justice League from Wonder Woman? Yeah. For Libertarians, yeah. The hero's journey. Yeah, it's the Matrix is also taken on the seventh son of the seventh son. Right. I wanted more on the island and less World War I stuff. I've never seen people double down on spoilers as hard as this. Seriously. The movie's been out for years. I recently watched, because I would parallel this story to the Captain America First Avenger, which I didn't like when it first came out. I wasn't crazy about it because I do have a chip on my shoulder about the basically the steroid or godlike idea of being a hero. But the Chris Evans character in Captain America takes a beating even when he's weak, and he submits himself to this crucible effect of having the stuff injected in him that makes him a superhero. And it's painful, and it might kill him, but he does it anyways because he's willing to. He's fought as hard as he can fight with the body that he has, and so he submits himself to this scientific experiment. It pays off, and he's reminded that what makes him most important is the fact that he's a good man. He fights bullies, and now he's been given a chance. You haven't seen what? Haven't seen Wonder Woman, or you haven't seen Captain America? So okay. But the Captain America Civil War one is, it gets by it. Doesn't Captain America come back in another movie? Yeah, I mean he's back in a bunch of them. But his origin movie, starts that way. Some people are busy and they don't have time to watch movies as often as they like. I watch movies from 10 years ago for the first time. Savage. That's true. I agree. Pay attention to the second Matrix. You see that Neo is the sixth son of the Matrix 6.0, and the Merovingians states that Neo is more powerful than the other one, so the movie trilogy hints that there's more to come. Yeah, I agree. And I don't like my issues with Wonder Woman are very similar to my issues with the Matrix in some ways, which is the plug and play greatness idea, and also with the switching in the Star Wars movies from anybody can learn to use the Force to it's actually in your blood. So it went, it became basically racist right out of the gate. Like you're born with magic blood, which I hate. I don't buy it. I haven't seen The Last Jedi because I'm not ready to watch Carrie Fisher's last performance. I already know what happens at the end, and I'm not bothered by this. Okay. Still love Wonder Woman. Still a great movie. I enjoyed it. Absolutely. It's fun to watch and all that. But as far as its messaging, it's got some real issues. Still never seen Tootsie, for God's sake. We didn't even have kill. Oh, my God. Tootsie's fantastic. I was a better man as a woman with you than I ever was with a woman as a man. Like, that's a great line. Wonder Woman and Captain America are both comic books from World War II, so they have the same storyline. In some ways, yeah. Except she was born a god, and he submitted himself to a near-death experience to become it. Tootsie's my favorite movie of all time. It's pretty damn great. Oh, my God. Bill Murray is fantastic in it. Like it's just terrific. I don't want people to come to my play and say, I saw your play. I cried, I want him to come up to me a week later and go, I saw your play. What happened? Oh my God. When should I look for the blue patch in the mail? Been looking. I sent it, Jude. I don't know what the issue is. The writing is amazeballs. The acting is on point. Great movie. Yeah. While the writers had years to write the first movie and rewrite it, then they wrote the sequels quickly. It's like a metal album, a metal band's second record. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll back and check out some of this stuff. Oh, and the Titanic sinks. Joe versus the Volcano is awesome. Joe versus the Volcano is a beautiful film. Didn't Larry Gelbart write? See, I don't know. Yeah. See, Scott Baio sexually harassed another one of his Charles in Charge co-stars, Alexander Polinsky. Yeah, I mean, he's been fairly awful for a while now. I don't know why that would surprise anybody. You saw the Titanic. Okay, yeah. So no spoilers. That's good. We didn't screw it up for you. No, anytime Chachi is brought up in the news, I scroll past in a fury. If anyone wants to see a sleeper movie, Absolute Jim, watch everything. Okay. Hal, haven't got it yet. I don't know why that is then. I was rooting for the Volcano. Watch it. That your show of shows room. It must have been amazing. Absolutely. I'll resend you one, Jude. But yours went out with the very first batch. So yeah, Joe versus the Volcano is, so undervalued as a movie. I will never be able to watch Happy Days or Arrested Development because of Baio and Jeffrey Tambor for the reason they boycott. Reasons to boycott AD from now on. I don't know if you remember that in the love. They joked that Scott Baio had to get Nicole on his show so he could nail her before she went to Baywatch and got out of his league. I don't remember that, but how should I just order more shirts? Makes your blood run cold now. There are nearly 4 seasons of Happy Days that are Chachi list. That's true. What's the best way to keep up with your appearances in SoCal? Do you have any stand-up date scheduled? Not right now. I'm going to do, I had a date at the La Jolla Comedy Store, but we moved it, and I don't know when the date's going to be because I need the weekend. That's the weekend. They wanted to move it to the weekend I'm doing the Chicago thing, and we were already working on that. Are there shirts? How do I get one? Through the website. Oh, and Can't Stop Lying, your shirts will go out next week, by the way. I think I found the right size for you. Yeah, you can order them through the website, through halsparks.com. I realized it was comedy and everything, but still. Well, people can't know they're making those jokes, and then they turn out to be that way. I'll come to Houston. I've been to Houston. I'd like to come back. We'll see. Are you still doing the show on Monday? No, I am not, Ginger. I will not be there. It's part of my I had a family thing, so that's all I'm saying. Dan was on head of the class too. I'm a very patient person, as you know. I need more shirts too. Need some mediums, man. Okay. Oh, that's right, because your mom got the larges or something like that. Okay. Might see it again on Monday. I don't often want to see movies more than once in the theater. No worries. I'm looking forward to my Chicago visit too. Watching the Mueller reality show Conspirators with Czars getting Kafifi. That's great. That's great, Rocky Mountain Mike. And with Czars. Question is, who else has Seth pointed out to us through his jokes? Right. I may have passed my 30 minutes. You're absolutely right. Oh, well, no. Technically, I have 1 minute. It's 11:29. My time. True about the Four Seasons that don't have Bayo. Here's the thing. Don't boycotting a show that before you knew somebody was awful doesn't, I mean, if you can't watch, you can't watch. That's fine. But just not watching, like all the other people aren't bad for what they did. I don't get it. Better watch Better Off Dead now. Won't be as good if Dan Schneider gets taken out, right? You know? I've worked with some pretty awful people in my life. Hal, I still keep on thinking about Michelle Clooney. You mean her having a kid with Bryan Singer? Can you come back to the Comedy Castle in Royal Oak, Michigan? That's a good idea. I would like to. It's 11:30. Don't be late. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I got to go. You're right. Thanks for the show, Hal. You appreciate for what you do. Thank you, guys. And how you're going to kidnap Ellie and set her mind right about Lou Manley's pizza. That can all happen. Yeah, before we go, I want to say that I wish you and your time with Camden and your father lots of fun. You'll be creating some memories for all three of you. No question. I'm already... I tear up just thinking about it. So, yeah. Better Off Dead. The movie or the TV? The movie. Michelle Clooney and Taya Giller and Sherry Glass are awesome and very sweet, Carrie. That's right. They are. And again, and this idea, you know, you'll never get me on board with purity tests with anybody. And you certainly, my guilty by association aspect is also very hard to trip. And I'll go even one further. I will agree with philosophies of people I don't like, or I don't like the rest of their philosophy if I know what they're saying about a certain issue is, you know, it doesn't void out everything someone says because they have weird issues with other stuff, you know. Otherwise, there's, you know, this show wouldn't exist. Stephanie Miller's show wouldn't exist. Like, nobody in the chat room would be able to talk if that was the standard. So, anyways, Cosby Show had a great writing and cast is great. True, it's hard to watch now, but not one bad apple should spoil the whole bunch, and Lou's Pizza is awful. Take me down, you punks. Have a great time in those museums, Hal. There's one I think you're going to that I've always wanted to visit. I will, more than likely, yeah. Element purity test, no purity test. Yeah, Better Off Dead, all-time favorite. Great mix of mainstream and absurd humor. It's a tough one, man. You couldn't, you know, well, you could probably make it today with 13 rules, or 13 reasons why, rather. Anyways, I gotta go. You guys are awesome. Thanks for sticking around for the post show. We'll see you next time. I'll be doing a special show, like I said, in Chicago on I think it's the 14th, and then of course we're gonna set up for that May 26th thing. So if people want to come in, we'll start. You know, we'll finalize that over the next like week or two, and then we'll make that plan part of like a whole big Chicago weekend for anybody who wants to come into town for it or is nearby. There you go. So anyways, peace and be wild. You guys are awesome. I'll see you later. Check. Bye. Hold on. Okay.